Hi, and welcome back to another episode of 10 Minute Strategy. This is Peter Prop from Knock Media, and I am here with my good friend Jay Norris. And Jay does a whole lot of stuff, but today we're going to talk about Guest. Jay is the founder or co-founder and CEO of Guest, which is a real estate tech platform. But Jay, before we get to Guest, can you tell people about how you moved from the world of real estate into tech and some of the
Okay.
companies you've created along the way?
Okay. Yes. Hey, Peter, how you doing? Thanks for having me. Um, yeah, no, so Guest. So let me tell you, before Guest, I was working at a shop called Marcus and Millichap as a real estate broker. Um, and quickly became known as the tenant rep broker for retail and office leasing. And I always knew that, we were using certain tools like 10X and CoStar for data and other analytics platforms. And I could see it. I said, I can envision in a world that at some point a property owner and a merchant would actually find each other on some kind of matchmaking platform that would actually circumvent the brokerage process.
Right.
So I started seeing this done, and also recognized a lot of tenants were actually searching for locations without brokers. And I said, I've been perfecting what I call matchmaking and analog for a while. And I said it's time for us to figure out how to automate the matchmaking process. And so that was the not the urgency, but the inspiration behind the guest platform.
Right. And so, my version, and you can correct me, is that you help retailers maximize their profits through a transparent exchange of data with the landlords. The landlords maximize their rent by not having empty storefronts.
Correct.
And the retailer maximize their profit by paying a rent that's adjusted based on their revenue stream. Is that
Yep.
the
Correct.
gist of it?
Right. Correct. I always tell everyone that, Guess is a trusted third party, a neutral trusted third party verification platform that allows a property owner, gives them a view of their tenant's daily sales performance all on one dashboard. But the inverse of that is that the tenant is now allowed to do what we call share. If they have a sentiment that where they want to do a new lease or they have a renewal, they could present a flexible leasing structure to the property owner because the rents have always been flat, fixed fees, 5 and 10 year leases. With our platform, the property owner may have a floor, which is a base rent, and then they'll have percentages of the sales that go on throughout certain breakpoints throughout the lease. On our platform, you're able to see these breakpoints in real time, daily. You're able to see the consumer sales. So that way, a property owner is more inclined to say, you know what? I'll take a risk with this tenant. I want a base minimum, but I'd like to share in some of the reward and maybe take 10% of the monthly sales that occur. And so our system tracks for all the administrative headaches they would have if they tried to do this deal in analog or
Right.
manually.
And how long has it taken you to get to market from when you had this idea to today? Because you've been in
Oh my
market
gosh. Well,
most of the year, right?
yeah, about put it this way, we started in 18, 17, 18. We
Uh-huh.
pivoted when COVID hit
Right.
in March because we had a initial model was to put retailers together. We were calling it a shop and shop type of model, and
Yep.
we were tracking their sales. And when COVID happened, we recognized it was going to be an issue to kind of continue tracking that. But I did see an influx of inquiries that say that, we're not going to be able to pay our rent anymore. And a lot of property owners like, well, what should we do in this case? And I saw that this was the time to come out with some type of platform that would allow a tenant to say, listen, how about if I give you a percentage of my sales and or either reduce rent. However, you could see my sales, and if we get back to an original milestone as far as sales, then I'll go back to my original rent,
Right.
or we'll stay right where we are. Um, and that's what we did. And it was 20, we started working on that product, kind of pivoted in that iteration in 2020. And then we moved to go to market in 2021.
Right.
And I'd say, we got some nice traction from a lot of food halls um, and pop-up markets in 2021. And then we moved into the retail REITs with the malls across the country. And so I'm proud to say that we're in 62 markets nationally currently.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're continuing to try to automate the sales reporting process. A lot of our property owners, especially mall owners, have in each one of their clauses with their tenants, the tenant has to report sales every 30 days. And one of the reasons why we created our platform was because that process of sales reporting was always done in analog. So for instance, Peter, if you had a bakery in your lease, it said you'd have to share what you did last month with me every month. However, property owners we speak to said 60% of their tenants may share their reports, but maybe 30, 60, 90 days later.
Right.
And then they said, wow, we received these reports, but they're not, I don't know if they're valid. We
Right.
don't know if they're verified by any source. We're not sure. And so we like to say that we're an automated sales reporting platform. On the other side, some of our tenants call us DocuSign for sales reporting,
Hmm.
but we've automated that process as well. So
Right. So
I'm
you're actually integrated in with the cash register system, the POS.
yes, the
So
POS
data
systems.
just flows up.
Correct. We integrate. That is really our secret sauce. I tell everyone is we're an integration platform. So our middleware, we integrate with 12 leading cloud-based POSs, Shopify, Square, Toast, Clover, to name a few. But they're pretty predominant and they're growing in the food and beverage category as well as in the retail dry goods
Right.
space.
Excellent. Excellent. So I read about the Open Doors Initiative and your work with, superstar chef Marcus Samuelson. He seems like such a great guy. But what, and you know him well, I know. What are
Mhm.
Marcus's priorities in terms of supporting economic growth, and how does that relate to Open Doors?
Well, you know what? It's interesting. I've known Marcus for quite some time. When he first started, his first restaurant was Aqua V in the city, and then Red Rooster. And so years ago, I used to work in hospitality and retail, so we know each other from that experience. And Marcus read about Guest about a year ago, and he pinged me and he said, "Jay, this is groundbreaking." And it was one of the first times I heard someone say groundbreaking. And he said, "No, man, do you know how long it takes for me to get my deals done because of the percentage rent clause?" And that's when I said, "Really?" So I leaned in and he said, "Yeah, man, I could have shrunk the curve from 3 to 6 months of doing a deal to maybe 2 weeks because they can trust that I'll report accurately now because of the third party." Now he said, "How do I get involved?" And my team and I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "I want to invest." And I said, "Oh, really? You would like to invest?" So he
Nice.
came in as an investor, but he said, "I also would like to become." He knew that we had a lot of adoption with major property owners, but he said, "What you really need is to have more of a restaurant evangelist like myself talk about how restaurants and merchants could use this to effectuate or procure a new lease with their property owner." So the Guest Open Doors initiative is about have minority-owned businesses having access to retail opportunities that they would never either know about, because on our platform we have A+ centers. And one of the issues is a lot of people say, well, everyone has access to it. And I say, not everyone has access to it, meaning it's on the outside, a property owner might market a certain space. However, to be targeted specifically to say this product is a matchmaking. So we're matchmaking on the Guest Open Doors. That our property owners have already agreed to be a part of our program. So that means they're looking to identify the best minority-owned businesses out there that can succeed and perform well in their assets.
And you have the data already that they're actually doing what they
Right.
say they're
We
doing.
track their performance daily, right? So
Right.
they'll know in a short-term test. Majority of our property owners call it like, let's just create incubator labs for these merchants. They need some type of catalyst or incubator that it helps them grow so that they can move to the next iteration of their growth. We're really proud of that because we did a big program with Shopify last year on the guest list where they had two revenue bands. First revenue band was brands that made 5 to 50 million a year. The second revenue band was 50 million and over in 21. They came on our platform in 22 just to find a pop-up opportunity because Shopify predominantly is online businesses.
Right.
And so this was their first, they were emerging businesses that never touched physical retail. And they found a home on our guest list platform.
Very cool.
And yeah, we were very happy about that. So since we had success there, we said, let's continue to create go-to-market strategies for other cohorts of our businesses. The first one is minority businesses. Next in Q4, we'll launch women's owned businesses, and then we'll continue
That's
to
awesome.
make sure that we represent all underrepresented business owners.
That's fantastic. And near and dear to my heart. Can you tell us in the community, how do we support restaurants or other retailers that are part of the Open Doors initiative?
Well, what you'll be able to do is when you go on the guest list, GUESST, and it's two S's in guest. I have to always clarify that.
Mhm.
And that was for trademark purposes. So on our platform, a host is the property owner or landlord, and the guest is the tenant.
Right.
And you'll be able to find some of the brands on our platform. And they'll have an either have an online store, or you'll be able to find out where they are physically. And we'll be
Excellent.
sharing that on that platform.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
Well, I think we've run out of time, but Jay, this is really fun, and I'd love to get together again, check in and see your progress in other initiatives. But I want to just congratulate you on Guest. It's a really cool idea, and it really helps a lot of small businesses, and I'm all for that, and big businesses. But
Yeah, no,
um,
and thank you, Peter. I mean, we definitely want to make sure that there are more platforms that uncover a lot of these pain points for businesses. Because what we really believe is that the small, medium-sized business owner is the backbone of this economy in the US, especially in the US. And also, I always say, who wants to live in a total homogenous society?
right.
I believe that the retail amenities that we have in our neighborhoods and communities help us daily with our fulfillment, and we need to help them. So let's not ask what our community can do for us. Let's ask what we can do for our community.
For sure.
You know.
Thanks so much, Jay. Have
All
a
right.
great day, and we'll
All
talk
right.
again.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate you.